We're back. Thursday episode of Choreographed Critics with a recap of Bad Blood.
Welcome to the show, everybody. That was Joel, and I am John.
Hi, John.
What's up, Joel? How was your week going?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah, I caught Monday Night Raw after Bad Blood. A lot going on there, but we have to discuss Bad Blood. If you had a good week, and I had a good week,
Oh yeah, we both
then
had
we're
a
on the
good
same
one.
page.
We are on the same page. That is
Sweet.
why we are here. We are here for Bad Blood. We're not here to talk about us.
I was here actually to kind of air out some of my work-related interpersonal issues. I pay you $29.99 an hour.
Yeah, next time I'll start the meter. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, Bad Blood was on Saturday. It was a pretty entertaining show, I'd say. A lot of celebrities in the house. If you are up with wrestling and rap music, um, there was
Certainly.
Goldberg. I
There was
wasn't
Goldberg, yeah.
wasn't expecting him, and then the Atlanta connection made
That
sense.
was the highlight of your the whole night, the Goldberg spot, wasn't it,
Oh
John?
yeah, yeah, him hopping there. Yep, I love him. Um, Killer Mike was there. Metro Boomin was all over the advertisements. He sat in a car with Cody for what was it, 30 days, whatever
And they were
they.
drinking Wheatley.
Yeah, they're drinking Wheatley and
Immediately, yeah.
smoking blunts and um, I don't know, but yeah, so a lot in attendance there. The show opened right away with a bang. It just right when the show starts, you see the Hell in a Cell dropping down.
Lowering.
Hell in a
Hell is
Cell.
cometh upon you. Yeah,
Arguably
it's
the reason this pay per view exists.
yeah. Arguably you have a strong case. The Levesque era is really good at having two main events, right? I feel like they're really good at going, hey, let's start this PLE off with a bang. It's going to be just as much of a draw as our main event. And I think that's the WrestleMania mentality that they're just applying to every single big event now. Because opening up with the Hell in a Cell, how do you top that, right? You come out strong, you come out swinging. But there again, that's the point of having SmackDown and Raw with a diversified roster of talent, having two main cards to pull and draw and put butts in seats. What'd you think about the Hell in a Cell? It's one of the better Hell in a Cell matches in recent memory. Because a lot of the time, when you get two guys in there, there has to be a lot of build. Okay, well, we had shit ton of build. We had since the Royal Rumble WrestleMania. So going forward, how can you not have enough tension to lower a cell on top of these two men? What were your thoughts about the brutality of this Hell in a Cell?
So I liked the amount of blood. Is I don't know if that sounds masochist or whatever.
It was bad blood.
That's yeah. You start the show with the gimmick. You get the blood out of the way. Um, but I liked it in the sense like they did it the hard way, they call it, where it's they're not slicing themselves. Like they actually took blunt trauma to the head. It was very apparent with Drew McIntyre. You shared with me after the fact, Drew McIntyre posting picture of the top of his skull just staples, like,
Oof.
and he was gushing. Like when that happened, I was just like, is there just
Yep.
like a gimmicked like thing in this toolbox that just like freaking.
No. Called the X on it with them
Oh, okay.
bleeding.
God damn it.
I'm sorry, John.
Happened again. can't tell. Okay, we are recording still. Should we just cut
I'm
this
sorry.
later?
No, it's fine.
All right.
Uh, I threw up the X. That's what I thought the ref would do.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Legitimately.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, he was streaming blood, but go on.
Yeah, I think we gotta stop being so animated. Oh my gosh, 2 weeks in a
I'm
row.
proficient in ESL.
um, so yeah, I thought the toolbox was like gimmicked. Like I thought maybe there was just like some like water balloon of fake blood or something, and it just popped.
Mm.
Like because that's just how it seemed. It was just like bam, toolbox hit him. He's gushing. Yeah, but
Yeah.
he was gushing the rest of the match. So you know, uh, but yeah, so that was brutal.
Mm.
I liked that they kind of took the bracelet thing, as dumb as that's all been, but you can say now, like, instead of thumbtacks, he took 47 friendship bracelets worth of beads in a bag, dumped them out, used those as thumbtacks or
He has the
whatever.
tax. Oh my god, the tax. I honestly thought he was dropping tax. That's what the crowd did too. They were like, oh, because it was
Yeah,
such a classic image.
exactly. We've seen that plenty of times. And yeah, so it was just that much better as the beads. It really kept coherent booking. Um, and yeah, I think that we both predicted Punk to win. Punk came out on top. Uh, what else did you have to? Did you have any spots in particular that come to mind? That
Yeah, I was gonna capitalize on the beads. Putting them in the mouth added this weird layer of intensity. Because it just reminded me of Mankind with a mandible claw. But then it also reminded me of Mankind or Mick Foley dumping the tax. It was just a lot of weird wrestling imagery going through my mind with some of those spots. Um, so yeah, the beads were interesting. I thought some of the contact with the steel was very, very rough, like stiff work. I, st- I mean, it's hard to avoid when you have a steel cage match and all that stuff, somebody's head getting pulled in, right? Bang, bang, bang. But you usually have them going like this, and there's some type of barrier between them, whether, there's some type of distance. But some of those spots where CM Punk literally got javelined into the steel cage,
yeah,
I was like, wow, that hurt. So there was that. There was a lot of in-ring work without weapons. That was interesting. It felt like a fight. It didn't feel like a grudge match that was forced. I felt like Edge and Balor at WrestleMania didn't feel very natural. It was like, oh yeah, of course you guys are gonna have this. But you had the legacy of Edge kind of making that match more important than it really is. So yeah, this felt like a fight. And the weapons that were used felt justified. There was so much bad blood between these two. And to see them both busted open was such a throwback to something, a brutality I haven't seen in WWE for a very long time. Um, so yeah, it was good to see Punk win. No interference. It was it was a well-rounded Hell in a Cell match. You touch cage, you touch weapons, you touch mat, you had blood. I was satisfied. That's something strange to say, but
no,
I was satisfied.
yeah. And just to capitalize on a point you just made too, with we haven't seen in WWE in a while, where like AEW, it's much more of this kind of thing, and it's not as tasteful, it's not as impactful anymore because
Mm,
it's just all the time.
right.
But we don't see this in WWE, so it really did mean that much more to the.
When did they ban blading?
Uh, Good question. Not sure.
And when you said taking the bump, literally the blunt force trauma for a bump,
Yeah.
isn't that more unsafe than just blading?
Yeah.
I've never done either one, but
You would assume actually getting busted open is much worse. Yeah.
hmm,
I don't know.
maybe it's something about the risk of the depth that you may cut yourself too deep. I don't know. Maybe this is less risky, but to me, intuitively, I would go, wait a minute, you just want to knock me over the head and hope I get busted open? I might get a concussion. I don't know. Interesting stuff. The brutality was there. And honestly, I hope the feud's over. I hope it's done. It's wrapped up. Anything more, to me, would leave a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah. And after what came on the opening of Raw this week too, Punk came out and was pretty
Yeah.
beaten up, and if you took it the wrong way, you could have thought that he was kind of teasing a retirement the way he was, you know, just playing up like how out of it he is. He made some point about uh like he said he didn't have any Hell in a Cells left in him before he went in there. So and he's like, yeah, I was definitely right. So to me that means he's gonna be gone for a while. And I don't know if that means Drew's going anywhere or if he's just gonna be gone for a while now too. Because we did talk
Mm,
about like the possibility of Drew maybe moving to SmackDown in the case that
that's right.
there was too much brutality in this match, or they put some sort of stipulation on it that they can't be on the same show anymore.
Right.
But now, to me, it just seems like it's just going to be a time and distance thing. Um, but they're probably still going to be on Raw. Just a matter of when they come back, I suppose.
Yeah. I think a separation would be wise. Uh, throw them on different shows. But yeah, it was a good capstone. It was a good capstone for that whole feud. So let's move forward. Having Punk out of the picture for a while could be good. I feel like there's a lot of work that needs to be done with Rollins to build up to a feud with Punk. And I think Gunther can kind of hold us over until about the Royal Rumble with different things going on, which Crown Jewel was announced. I don't know if you want to talk about that now or carry on through the card or.
Well, so that was like, let's see, that was kind of the fourth thing that happened on the show, technically. So we can
Yeah,
come back to
so
that.
sounds good.
If you want, we can proceed to the next match, which was Bailey versus Nia Jax.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Let's
So,
proceed.
um, like I didn't think there was much heat going into this match to begin with, and then coming out right after this damn good Hell in a Cell match, like
Oh, yeah.
this match was kind of doomed to begin with. Um, Basically, all that I wrote down is that Nia won. There was an ambiguous cash in situation with Tiffany Stratton. Seems like that's kind of all that there is to say about that. They're just kind of still playing in the, is Tiffany going to cash in? Is she going to betray Nia? When's that going to happen? But until then,
Yeah.
uh, I don't think there's much else to say on it. How about you?
No, that's the gist of it, isn't it? We all know, I think I said last episode, you have Tiffany just standing behind Nia Jax being like, I'm gonna stop you. Maybe Halloween's coming up. Maybe she'll do it in like a cute way. But yeah, who cares, right? Who
Yeah.
cares what happens between Bailey and Nia Jax? They're not gonna put a title on Bailey this soon again. And the context was all wrong. It felt very filler. So
Yeah. So, moving on from that, we had Finn Balor versus Damian Priest, which kind of also fell flat to me. We were talking before the show. You were a little bit distracted during that match, and I don't know what happened. I just stopped paying attention, stopped caring. So we don't have
yeah.
much to talk about for this match either. Priest won, which
Yeah.
is what we thought was going to happen. Um, I don't see any reason for these two to keep fighting, but like I said, I kind of blacked out, so I don't know if that was something explained during the match or
No, I mean, it was a match, and it just it just feels like this wrap up of, okay, the Terror Twins are pissed at the Judgment Day, but what do you do with the Judgment Day without their two faces? You know, like they were the they were the main draw of the Judgment Day, and the Rhea Ripley conclusion, which we'll get to, did not go. I thought it would just be a victorious night for the Terror Twins, and this would be the end. And so, yeah, Priest. What are you gonna do with Priest after this?
yeah, I no idea. No idea. He's gonna
That,
start feuding with Sheamus. I don't know.
you think so? Yeah, you
Not
think he's just gonna
Sheamus, but
float the mid? He's gonna float the mid card and be used accordingly, just to kind of do something with him.
yeah, or he just is still involved with whatever Rhea's angle is with them. Like he's like still cheering her
Hmm.
on, or he's her backup, or that kind of thing. But
Right. Hmm.
not all that interesting for him.
No, and I thought it was odd too having two Judgment Day matches at Bad Blood. It was very dominated by the Raw scene, I felt, in that way. So, I, it is what it is. It was better than the Nia Jax and Bailey match. At least you have with these two some established history, betrayal. It's not just like off the cuff, weird context.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, yeah. He'll probably float the mid card. Finn's very flexible. I mean, I've seen him jump to NXT and do some stuff recently. I've seen him work the main roster. It's kind of he's kind of there to, I don't know. He seems to just kind of be a binding agent with loose ends. They go, just throw Finn in it. Nah, we don't have anything for Priest. Just have him feud with Finn. Just put Finn in a tag match. Put the tag titles on Finn.
yeah.
He's good. He's versatile. He's flexible, but he isn't very interesting, is he?
Not right now, anyway. He's
Yeah.
been more interesting in the past, but
Yeah.
yeah, not with this Judgment Day stuff. I think we're gonna take a quick break here, and then when we come
Sure.
back, we'll get to what we were about to discuss with the Crown Jewel titles.
Excellent.
So yeah, we will be right back. And we're back here.
Welcome back.
We're going to now discuss after Finn Balor and Damian Priest match. Triple H came out with special news. A lot of the rumors going around were that they were going to add like a mid card women's title. NXT, I believe, 6 months ago added a NXT North American Women's Championship. That's the only mid card women's championship that I know of in the States anyway. I'm sure Japan has 14. They
Oh
just
yeah. Yeah.
have so many titles, so many promotions. Um, but anyway, so he comes out. People see the little podium. They see the velvet, whatever, covering obviously a championship on the podium. And he starts talking, and it turns out it is not a mid card title, but
No.
a very regionally specific title, I guess we can call it. It's the Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel Championships. And the stipulation for that is it's going to be the two main champion men and two main champion women. They're going to fight, and whoever wins gets this Crown Jewel belt. How do you feel about this? Do you think it's like strictly just something Saudi Arabia gave them money to put together? Is this
That's
going to be defended outside of Crown Jewel? What do you
a good
think?
question. Yeah, I think the crowd told us exactly how they felt they were booing Triple H, which is something you don't see anymore. I was going to say, John, when you kept mentioning different titles, the funniest comment I saw over the last week or so, I was on YouTube, and somebody said in a clip of Chelsea Green coming out of a dumpster, they thought she would come up with the Diva title.
Oh,
And yeah, that was the big. But anyway, um, Saudi Arabia, right? They ask and they receive something about their lucrative contract partnership. I don't know. Favoritism? Is it favoritism? Like, we don't know what's going on.
mm.
Um, we know some of the talent in the past. They haven't been very fond of going over there. I know the women wrestlers, they have to cover up and they have to respect their society and culture, which is all fair. Um, but yeah, this feels like favoritism in some underhanded way. Money involved, like here's $5 million. Can we have our own personalized belt that no one can leave? It has to stay. No one can take this out of Saudi Arabia. It will stay here. And there's probably like oil diamonds encrusted into it or something. I don't know. Um, if it stays in Saudi Arabia, cool. Once a year, we get this really cool match, and we can look forward to it, right? If they really build up the two brands and we have two main cards and they're going to go at it, that's
Yeah.
cool. In fact, Rhodes versus Gunther, as it stands, that's neat. I actually want to see Rhodes take on somebody who could possibly pin him clean 1, 2, 3. I do think Gunther's going to win that title.
I do too.
I'll leave it at that for my prediction. That title is humongous. Good lord. Well, it's like the heavyweight title, the classic WWC one, but even longer and more bulky. It has to be one of the largest
Yeah.
titles in memory. I
Yeah.
can't think of a more beefier jewel encrusted title.
I can't either.
What do you think? The fans weren't happy.
Yeah, the fans
Do
weren't
you think
happy. I don't know if you weren't watching at the time, but there was a Greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia at one time, and
Okay.
Braun Strowman won this Royal Rumble, and he got this Greatest Royal Rumble championship, and that was the last time you saw it, and that was 6 years ago, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, so like they've done similar and done nothing with it after. So I mean, this is Triple H doing it now. It's not Vince, but I don't know. Just based on the greatest Royal Rumble, like there's no one has won a title from a Royal Rumble except for if the title's on the line.
Right.
So
It reminds me of the Andre the Giant Battle Royale trophy.
exactly, it's akin to that exactly, except for they're not all starting in the ring like the
Yeah.
Andre. But yeah, I kind of think it just stays there. I hope it stays there too. And so then with that announcement coming, we got a Gunther sighting, which he wasn't on the card for Bad Blood, so that was kind of cool.
That was.
Gunther coming out. I don't remember a lot of the substance of it, to be honest, but he, got under Goldberg's skin.
Well, you were too busy saluting your ring general.
That must be it, yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
My Austrian
Yeah.
heritage.
Yes. The ring general Gunther. Something like that.
Yeah, so
Ludwig Kaiser does it better.
I was too enthralled with that to hear the actual substance of the promo, I guess.
It was basically, here I am. That is a cool title. I will take it. And Bill Goldberg is, well, first of all, is this a legacy contract? Why is Bill Goldberg having a side ring promo with Gunther? There's no, maybe because Lesnar isn't here, they're going to be like, let's throw Goldberg at Gunther. That's close, but not
Yeah.
really. But let's just get it out let's air everything. You despise Bill Goldberg
I don't
as a
despise-
professional wrestler. Yes, we're going to use that strongly worded. You despise Bill Goldberg. You hate his guts. Explain to everyone why you dislike him as a professional wrestler.
Sass Bret Hart, man. No.
Hey, he
No,
was here not too long ago.
the days of Vince McMahon 2016 to 2020, they had Goldberg take the title off of a thriving Kevin Owens at the time. And
Oh,
what happened was like there's this fantastic feud between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. Like at the time, Chris Jericho, this is before AEW. Um, they they were good friends, Chris and Kevin Owens, and then they ended up feuding, and they put Goldberg in a title match with Kevin Owens, and essentially all that happened. This is the entire match. I'm not even like leaving anything out. They start the match. I think there's like 2 or 3 moves, and then Chris Jericho's music hits, right?
okay.
So you hear the break the wall down, like
Breaking down the walls.
yeah.
For those about to rock.
So KO's instantly distraught, right? And there you go. You eat a Bill Goldberg spear. 1, 2, 3. It was like a 2-minute match. I had to watch this guy like fight Brock Lesnar 3 times, I think, and that like he's beyond stiff, and like I don't think
His whole career.
well his whole career, but like especially Oldberg.
Goldberg.
And yeah, so then Lesnar, I don't think he's like Lesnar's great at putting people over that can also put themselves over. Like I don't think he can put over like an Undertaker or a Goldberg, or like if HBK came out and did another match. That was a Saudi match one time, HBK.
Oh yeah.
It just it just everything I saw from Goldberg in like 2016 to 2018, he beat the Fiend for the title. Bray Wyatt,
Jesus.
the Fiend, he beat him, just like buried every Bray Wyatt momentum thing going on at the time, just speared into oblivion, just like fucking Kevin Owens. And
That's so terrible.
there's no like, what did Goldberg do for the industry to come out and be like, I'm putting myself over now because I gave so much?
Right. I mean, he did stand in sparks for more than 30 seconds.
Yeah,
was-
thousands of times.
That was pretty lit.
Literally.
But yeah, so it sounds like Vince had these new, young, thriving, a thriving ecosystem of young talent, and here's this legacy guy, Oldberg, and they just had him do squash matches during this period.
Basically, his longest match was with Brock for like 7 minutes. That was the longest one. And that
Wow.
one, they teased it was going to be a squash at the beginning. That was actually the best part of the entire feud, was him teasing, oh, we're getting another fucking Goldberg squash. But we got like a half squash.
Jesus.
So yeah, I do not have fond memories of that. And then like, do you talk to, like I said, freaking Bret Hart? There's interviews with William Regal just completely burying him too. Just like this guy literally had no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not a fan. There's my Goldberg.
Yeah, I don't blame you. He's very one-dimensional. Everybody knows he's the biggest one-dimensional success to come out of WCW. Maybe that was what he gifted the industry, was you can have a big draw with just this. It was like the brevity of Goldberg. If there is, you know what I'm saying? Creatively, as a gimmick, the brevity of Goldberg. Here's this guy who's coming out of like football, and he's going to jackhammer you into the mat. He's going to spear you in half, and we're going to put a title on him. It looks good. He looks like a wrestler. He sounds like a wrestler. He growls like a wrestler, but he ain't a wrestler, right? He's not polished. When it comes to technical stuff, he'll probably hurt you. So, no, Your disdain for Bill Goldberg is justified, my friend. No worries there. I think most wrestling fans, except for the nostalgia of the old WCW Goldberg, will agree with you. He was an unsafe meathead.
Yeah, plain and simple. So with him getting involved or whatever, is this a one off? Do you think, or
I hope. I don't want to see Gunther in the ring with him.
I don't either.
That's a liability. I mean,
Yeah, he
I
can't
mean,
even. I don't think he could jackhammer Gunther at this point. Like, get him up
I
there.
mean, throw a dog a bone. Give Breaker Goldberg.
Sure,
Let's be real here.
that would make a
Give,
lot more sense. Yes.
yeah, because at least with that you can go. I can clearly see the gimmickry behind these two feuding because he's a mini me of Goldberg.
Yeah.
The way they've been booking him. Which, if we get a chance to touch on Braun Breaker and his directionless.
Yeah. We'll have to try to get to that here. Um,
Okay.
let's see. So, one thing I was going to add with Gunther and this Goldberg thing. Um,
Mhm.
so Goldberg has fought in Saudi Arabia before. Um, not that he can be a part of this match because he's not one of the two world champions, but what if he, I don't know, just
Referee.
his entrance music hits?
Something.
The scenario I was just shitting on. Um, like, does he somehow interfere to make Gunther lose, and then they do something?
Mm.
Like, I just feel like Goldberg and Saudi Arabia, like, they'll probably give him like $500,000 just to go. You know,
They'll
like,
eat it up.
yeah,
But we got Goldberg here. Yeah, the Saudis are funny. And I don't. This isn't like an ethnocentric rant. I have nothing against, except for maybe some of their like human rights issues. But I've nothing against the House of Saud. Okay, but when I ever look at the booking for their shows, I go, it feels like a rich young punk being like, and I want this, and I want this, and I'd like to see this guy there today. And how much more can I also get a Goldberg? If I give you more, can you add Goldberg to my hamburger? Like that type of mentality. Like
the
just
problem is
add all the
that's
fixins.
the problem is that's an accurate description of Tony Khan also. But
That's also
anyways,
that's true. Right. I want this dream match. Sign that guy. Is he still under contract? Sign him. Uh, but he looks a little more like
yeah,
uh, all right. Well, I don't know. If Goldberg makes it to Saudi Arabia, I'd be surprised. I do think the Cody Rhodes Gunther match will be a classic if they do it right and make it just try to emulate the atmosphere you had with Randy Orton going in against Gunther. That King of the Ring match was quintessential in a lot of ways. Uh, that belt, man. I sometimes I want to go back and rewatch it. It was just such a technical masterpiece of wrestling. The build, the in-ring narrative. But anyway, if you can do that, emulate that atmosphere, and deliver at Saudi Arabia, I feel like a politician. Deliver at Saudi Arabia. If you give me Goldberg and Rhodes, instant classic.
you mean Gunther and Rhodes? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Not Goldberg and Rhodes. That was a Freudian slip. I just want Goldberg so bad to be at Saudi Arabia.
Goldberg just comes out.
Yeah.
You know, Dusty is kind of a bitch, and then like that's all you need. That's
it.
there's the Goldberg and Cody
Rhodes
feud.
be like, "What did you say about my dad?" Yeah.
And then I think we're assuming then there's no like random women's title change either in between now and then. So it'll
Unless
be
Chelsea Green comes up with the Diva title. I'm
we'll see.
telling you.
Talked a little bit about that off air, the stupid dumpster match. Um, but yeah, so it's gonna look like it's Liv and Nia Jax for that one then, and I don't think Liv wins. Um,
No.
I don't actually
Which
know.
Yeah, it would be cool if you think about it that way. Because now you have Gunther, King of the Ring, Nia Jax, Queen of the Ring, and they're both going to win the Crown Jewel title. That'll be, I don't know. Do you want that?
That's a good point.
Is that is that good creatively for those two? Um, both very unstoppable forces of nature. They're kind of similar in a lot of ways.
And they both have, like you said, the king and queen of the ring. They have like these things that, like, theoretically, once you've won them, it's yours. Like, you don't lose king of the ring,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like a
And
merit.
you
Hmm.
probably don't lose the Saudi Arabia belt ever. Like, it just is up
Yeah.
for grabs again next year. I don't know. Um, so then coming out of that segment, we go into Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, and with Dom Mysterio in a shark cage. Due to Hell in a Cell, it was not above the ring; it was
That's
just outside the ring, which was kind of interesting. I didn't even think about
yeah.
that when they were like booking these things, that they were gonna have two structures they have to worry about.
Dangling. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that match, it was okay. There was some stuff going on. Dom didn't really have a factor. I think people thought he was gonna slip some brass knucks, or whatever it might
Yeah.
be, but he didn't really do anything but become a pinata for
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley at one
That was
point.
great.
He, for those who didn't see it, I don't think the cage was ever locked. By the way, I'm just gonna say that. Like, I don't
You don't think
remember.
so? He
I don't. I think it was just unlocked the entire time. Nobody ever locked it.
just
Um,
had to discover it.
yeah, he was like under handcuffs and stuff, in chains. But yeah, I don't think the door is ever locked. But he gets out of the locked door, and essentially trips, and part of the chain is like held to his ankle.
Yeah.
So he's just dangling outside of the cage, just like in perfect height to be a pinata for what you call it there, the kendo sticks.
The old kendo stick. And Ripley took it to him,
Oh yeah,
which was pretty funny. I was like, "Oh my god, he's a piñata and I haven't seen this before and this is great." And then Rodriguez shows up. That was out of the blue, man. Um they've been pushing her to be a force of nature as well for so long. And then I think behind the scenes she actually got sick or had an illness. Um,
something like that. Yeah,
but so she's back. Yeah, she's tall, but my God, where is her charisma? This is why they couldn't push her before. She's so bad at being a heel or a face. The best thing she does as a face is she gives her old back, like, and then she does that thing, and she has a great smile. She could definitely pull off the face smile. But now as a heel, I saw her on Raw the follow, and she was the chauffeur for Liv and
yeah,
Dom, and just completely mute. And I was like, oh no, are they gonna try to push her as like a mute force of nature? Because I'm not gonna be into that. Like this bodyguard, Raquel Rodriguez. I'm the bodyguard of the Judgment Day. Is it for the Judgment Day or is it for Daddy Dom and Liv Morgan?
yeah. They didn't make that very clear on Raw either on Monday. Like, they didn't say like she's a part of the Judgment Day. They tried to ask, but yeah. So that's unclear. So
Yeah.
yeah, she ends up taking out Rhea Ripley to have the match end in disqualification, and Liv retains due to the champion's advantage in that situation.
Yeah.
Um, I don't really have much else to say.
I don't see the purpose. If you want to build a feud with Rhea, just give Rhea the title and then insert Rodriguez as her next big opponent. Why I don't know why Liv's hanging on to it. This indicates Rhea's not done with the Judgment Day, but Damian Priest is, and which we've seen in a lot of the social media chatter. They're actually going to part regardless of what's going on with the Judgment Day. They're not going to team up as much. That's what I've been reading. They want to do more singles work. I'm talking about Rhea and Priest.
Okay.
And so if you have Rhea still in the fold with Judgment Day and Rodriguez being her next feud, why does Liv have a title? And at what point does Ripley go, I don't care anymore about Dom?
Well,
Don't know when that's going to happen.
I just think that's implied. I don't think she cares about Dom
Is
at
it?
all. Yeah.
Okay.
I
So you
think
think it's
it's
already just purely about the title?
yeah, and he's just a
Okay.
nuisance. That's how I look
Okay.
at it.
Yeah,
Um,
you're probably right. Yeah.
so what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so Raquel's just a buffer till the next match, and then maybe Rhea wins it off of Liv. I don't know. Hopefully,
Yeah, it's just with the bodyguard status for Rodriguez, they can't do a triple threat. Um,
no.
so
They probably
yeah.
probably do like a Shawn Michaels Diesel thing, like just Shawn's the
Mm,
champion, and here's Diesel. You got to get through Diesel. You
yep,
know,
yep, or a kill switch and
kill such and yeah, Christian.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
The patriarchy stands strong. Um,
And then
so
we got the main event of the show. It was Solo Sokoa and Jacob Fatu versus the OTC Roman Reigns, the original tribal chief, the only tribal chief, whatever you want
I'm
to call
throwing
him.
up the one.
There we go. And we're back. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
uh, so, yeah, versus the original tribal chief and Cody. Um, frankly, it seemed like a pretty standard tag match up until the point of Cody getting Jacob Fatu on the announce table, climbing up to the turnbuckle, and obviously jumping from the turnbuckle onto Jacob Fatu, taking out
Yep,
him,
yep.
everything. Everything before that, yeah, he had the salute. Everything before that to me was just kind of eh. Um, I don't know. Were there any spots that stood out to you before then?
Well, did you like the pacing?
It was fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because to me it felt very WrestleMania throwback. The tag match, that is. Um, but for spots, I just want to see Fatu get let loose.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I he's like I said last episode, he is the next big thing. In what capacity, I don't know. But in this capacity, it's gonna wear thin with me as a viewer because I love his work, man. Whenever I see him do that beautiful moonsault, it's just as good and just as pretty as Tiffany's. Um, and they call that the prettiest moonsault. No, I think Fatu has the gnarliest moonsault.
Oh yeah.
He's like a feather when he floats, right? He's so athletic. So yeah, anything that Fatu did to shine in that match, I was all about. Roman Reigns is fun to watch now because there's so much zest in seeing him take out his frustration. I'm not a fan of Roman Reigns as a wrestler in his work. Let me clarify. His character work is phenomenal. His wrestling moveset and the way he sells his in-ring narrative is mediocre. I mean, the Superman punch is really boring.
Yeah.
The spear, it's a spear. Come on, it's a spear. But he has the zest and the finesse to sell it so well now. He's so crafted, he's so honed in. So now he's just a joy to watch as a face, getting his pop, doing the ooh ah. I love that. Before it was like, God, somebody take this guy's title. I'm so tired of it. And now I look forward to him lining it up against his old brethren. And so I love having that extra spice where he has a real reason to like get pissed off in ring and execute his moveset, because his moveset all in all is boring. What did you think about Cody Rhodes? Because now that I've talked about Fatu and Reigns, Rhodes besides his sayonara moment, he felt just very by the book, kind of like I'm doing this because we got to get the bloodline story on the ball. And we haven't talked about Rock popping at the end. But what did you think about Cody's performance?
Yeah, kind of the same. It seemed formulaic, not like in a bad way, but just kind of going through the motions almost until yeah, until he takes out Fatu, and then he doesn't have too much more to do with that match after that, right?
No, not much. I mean, Jimmy comes out. I texted you. I was like, "Oh, look at his little Jimmy." I've been saying for months, like, "Where's Jimmy? Where is he? Is he here? Is he there?"
Yeah, and so he came out after the tag titles, the Tongans came out to distract.
Yep.
Um, so
Yep.
Jimmy returns, he helps fight them off, and then it ultimately ends with Roman pinning Solo Sikoa for the win.
Yep.
Um, After the match, Roman and Jimmy kind of just leave like normal, and they look back, and Cody Rhodes is getting beat up,
Gang
and
beat.
yeah, gang beat by the old bloodline or the new bloodline rather. And Roman and Jimmy kind of have this moment where Jimmy's like, "Are we gonna go help a moose?" You know, like trying to. He's like, "I'm gonna do it. You're gonna do Tribal Chief," and like he was just on board with whatever Roman was gonna do, and it seemed like at first Roman was just like, "Eh, whatever, just let him get beat up," but then he changed his mind, and they end
There's
up
that zest, that hesitation, his
the
zest. He
hesitation.
sells it. He does so well at selling these days. Back with Paul Heyman and Paul Heyman being like staring at him and Roman Reigns' nose flare and oh man. Now with his renewed zest, he's fun to watch. But yeah, I was gonna say, with The Rock coming out, what was your angle on that whole thing? Because we've discussed at length, is Jey Uso going to get thrown back into the fold? Jimmy's back. The Tongans are there. They are what they are. By the way, those guys are going to have successful single careers when they get to it.
You think
But
so?
I think so. Maybe one more than the other. I've
Yeah,
Tongaloa.
I think you mean the other one, Tonga.
Yeah, probably.
Because Tongaloa is the
Probably
one.
Tamatanga.
Tonga they just like meme on the internet all the time for these botches and stuff. But
Okay, who's the one who did the hyena
that's
Tourette's?
Tonga. Yeah.
Somebody who hasn't watched the show recently is gonna be like, What did he just say? Hyena Tourette's?
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah,
He's
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, where are they going? I felt with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson coming out, carrying the people's belt. It was cool. We knew it was coming a little early in my anticipation. But who is this
We're,
to?
who's what to? Oh, the cutthroat. Um,
Yeah.
I think it was to Cody, and the reason for that, like before he did the cutthroat, he did like a 1, 2, 3 kind of thing, and
Okay.
like
Okay.
Cody or Rock before he left, like that Raw immediately after Mania, he had that segment with Cody where he wanted to like see the belt and that whole exchange.
Oh, John, the Zoom meeting ended.
That's fine.
Okay.
We're still recording. Um,
Oh, good.
so where is it going? The Rock. They had that exchange where he wanted to see the belt from Cody on Raw, whenever that was.
Oh, yep.
And like he said something like "Don't break my heart again" kind of thing, you know.
Okay. Okay.
So theoretically, Cody broke his heart by taking away the Rock Roman original plan match before they blew it up because Cody won the Royal Rumble and they couldn't just do Rock and Roman anymore. Um, so that was one time of him breaking his heart, and then like he handed something to
Oh, that's
Cody.
right. That's right.
I don't know what that was, right? Is that something that broke his heart? It could have been. And
Yeah.
then whatever just happened could have been 3.
Jesus.
So,
Yeah, okay. And we never did find out what that was, right?
no, people on the internet were like, "Oh, Cody said on Pat McAfee's show he bought everyone a Rolex and blah blah blah." So like people are like, "Oh, did Dwayne give back the Rolex that Cody gave him?" Or we have no idea what that is.
And so we've been discussing for months. Are we going to come to find out that Solo Sokoa's escapade has been puppeteered by The Rock behind the scenes? Because
Yeah,
nothing was implied at Bad Blood, but logically, if he's pissed at Reigns and Rhodes, and he is allegedly still interested in having a match with Cody, that leaves us with The Rock is with Solo.
right.
Paul Heyman has to return. When Paul Heyman returns, that will be interesting. There's been chatter, though. There's in the rumor mill, a lot of people have been saying that Paul Heyman is not going to return to the Bloodline feud.
Like
When
at
he
all.
returns, that's what
Hmm.
the chatter is. When he
Okay.
returns, it will be in a different capacity. Um, but anyway, yeah, we're almost there. I think Jey Uso needs to somehow wiggle his way in there. I don't know how. He has to get his. He could do it with the belt on, but he doesn't need the belt, which leads us into like what they're doing with Breaker being directionless. Maybe he will get a belt put back on him after losing it so soon. But yeah, having the bloodline back in the fray, building it up. Are we going to get War Games bloodline, or is this going to be segmented over the next year and a half? Because the way they're building it, and I said this last time, although you reminded me, hey, we have lots of time before Mania. I feel like if they don't start really pulling the throttle on getting Jay back in there and Paul Heyman back in there has to be a bigger match before Mania, before you have your single matches.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is like a 3v3 or a 4v4.
In War Games is traditionally 5v5, I think, or maybe it's 4v4. If it's
I'll have to remind myself because, yeah.
Yeah, if it's 4v4, then like the built-in thing would be the Tongans, Fatu and Solo versus Roman, Jay, Jimmy, and TBD. Um, could be Cody again. Hopefully not Cody again.
I
Um,
hope not.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe they get Sammy, but that all seems too quick because Survivor Series is the pay per view following Crown Jewel, so that's coming up. So they
Yeah.
gotta really put the wheels in motion if they're gonna get Jay onto SmackDown somehow, get him back with his brother with Roman. It's and they got to get the title off him first too. So yeah, there's just a lot to consider there. So I don't know if they pull that off or not.
And also, does Jay want that? Does Jay want to divert from his successful singles run? Because
Right.
he's doing phenomenal, man. They put the title on him to capitalize on the yeet. It is through and through success.
Oh yeah. So
So
so yeah, I think ultimately the count to 3 cutthroat thing that's at Cody. It might be a Roman. Um, and let's see. So then after the show, there was a fan filmed segment where basically KO, we don't know why, just got completely pissed off at Cody Rhodes and decided
in the
to,
parking lot.
yeah, beat the shit out of him in the parking lot by the Wheatley tour bus. And yeah, so apparently how they did it in real time was it was going on during like the post uh, show scrum thing that they do, and like Cody was supposed to go up on for the scrum or whatever, and they're like, apparently he can't make it, or just like
Oh,
trying to play it off. Meanwhile, they have random people filming him getting his ass kicked by Kevin Owens, and then
I saw
speeding
that
off,
clip. Yeah.
speeding off in a McLaren like immediately after. It's just like
It's
this.
so unlike KO.
Yeah, it was just weird. Like, why does he have this Lambo, McLaren, whatever this is? Um, but yeah, so I thought it was interesting that they chose to do that not on a show, right? Like, it wasn't part of Bad Blood. It wasn't on SmackDown in a couple days or tomorrow now. They did it outside of the scope of their television, and I think that that's going to be more of a normal thing now. Like, we're going to probably
Absolutely.
see more segments like that where they're just going to leave it off of TV, and then either you hear about it through the grapevine or you seek it out or whatever. They're going to start doing that, and I think they're going to like be they're going to imply, or they're going to think it's implied that everyone takes the time to do that. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. But regardless, I think the reason
Mm.
why they did it for this is now it's building a week's long anticipation to SmackDown. You're like, why did he do it? What's Randy gonna say?
Yeah.
This, that, the other. Got basically a whole week to think about it now. So that's a good build in itself, I think. Did you have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've been sitting on it too, and I think you're right. So having multiple avenues and channels for content is something new. And I think in the first episode, I mentioned, wow, what a time to watch wrestling. There's so much chatter online, and there's bleed through with the wrestlers' social media and what they're doing in the ring and what they're doing in the promo world. And having this be another avenue adds depth, also adds engagement, and it's also like a new form of fishing for viewers. Because I think you and I were talking about YouTube and having shorts on your channel and having a podcast.
Yeah.
You know, doing shorts, what does that do for your podcast? Well, this is kind of like WWE doing a short, but they can upload it to so many different avenues, and you can kind of fish and retain viewers who are then interested in, like you just said, oh, okay, I have to tune in Friday to see what that was about. Well, now you may have gained another viewer. Maybe it's an AEW fan who has shunned WWE because he's a diehard AEW fan. But then he sees that sent to him by a buddy who's been watching WWE. And he goes, that's interesting. I remember watching Kevin Owens. Maybe I'll tune in Friday to see what that was about. At least that's what I would think if I was their marketing manager. How many avenues can we go down and get content in people's faces? So it's like, how can we get butts and seats? How can we get content in people's faces? So I agree with you. You're going to see a lot more of that. And I haven't seen rumors about where Netflix is going. Will it have commercials? Will there be a commercial break? That is so interesting because it got my gears going. Oh, maybe 2 hours is just right if you don't have any commercials.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 hours would be exhausting on Netflix with no commercials. There's all these different concepts and strategies and ways to get wrestling in front of people's faces. And I'm not opposed, even though I don't use social media, I'm not opposed to having shorts or snippets or whatever they want to call it as little pieces of content that bridge narrative between a promo, an in-ring match, and an attack outside in the parking lot. It can all web together. So, yeah, that kind of is my summary of why it's good and why I'm not against it.
Yeah, and I'm not against it either. I'm just worried they'll like think that people saw something they didn't, you know.
Ah, yeah, misconstrue. But they love that, don't they? I personally think WWE Creative loves the rumor mill.
Well, they might,
What are
yeah.
the journalists? What are the journalists called? There's like a name.
Like the
Uh,
dirt
and,
the
and
dirt
this,
sheets. Dirt sheets.
yes, Yes, there you go. Um, I think the creative side and the story writers, the content creators at WWE, the creative department, they love that. I think they love misdirection, you know, because you can build more ploy and anticipation by having some other foreign element distract your audience and make them think, oh, on Friday, this person's coming back, and WWE is going to lean into that misdirection and make the pop even bigger for the surprise that they actually wrote.
True.
So that's
Yeah.
really cool. So, yeah, maybe having things misconstrued is
Yeah.
another layer of for them to kind of build off of and reward the audience.
Oh, I agree. I didn't even consider that aspect. So yeah, that's a good point.
That's so
Um,
cool. Yeah.
and there was one other social clip immediately after the Bad Blood, and that was just The Rock talking a lot of shit for 7 minutes, or
Yeah.
however long it was.
Oh yeah.
He was just talking a lot of smack, but he didn't say anything, right? Like he just, oh, The Rock, blah blah blah. Yeah, just
Yeah.
I can't
Just a
even.
spiel, a narcissistic spiel
There you
of the
go.
final boss.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, there's nothing even really to pull from it. It's just he was just talking shit. Um, I wanted to go backwards just a little bit to things that happened on SmackDown on Friday.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
so one thing that happened during the show was there was a AJ Styles versus Carmelo Hayes match,
Mm, that's
and
right.
it was a pretty good match. AJ, when AJ came back out, or when he came out rather from being absent, he got a rather babyface response, and he was kind of leaning into it. He's just like, "Yeah, I kind of feel bad about that," and just whatever, just kind
Yeah.
of like, "Yeah,
Just a good old boy.
yeah, I did some things I probably shouldn't have, but yeah, we're here now. I'm still AJ Styles. You all love me." Um,
And I'm jacked.
and I'm jacked. And then he came out, yeah, and then he fights Carmelo, and during the match, AJ tweaks. Was it his knee or was it his ankle? I can't remember.
I believe it was the knee. I think it
I
was the
think,
knee.
yeah. So
Yeah.
he tweaked his knee, and they did everything to make it look like he
Hmm.
actually tweaked his knee. Um, I don't. We don't know for sure if he actually did. I think Joel, you're on the side that it's a work.
I think it is a work. But I will say he had me for a moment, but maybe you can enlighten me. I've been told that if it's not a work, there are telltale signs. They don't show things off camera as much. All right, I should say when they're in the back, they're not going to follow up with some like AJ's with the doctor and let's check in. If
Right.
he's actually hurt, there won't be a promo afterwards or any type of I don't know. Maybe you can fill me
That's.
in.
I think that's kind of true, and I I almost consider what they did not even happening just because it was so brief. It was like two
Yeah.
seconds. Like they could have, they could have just done that real quick. Um, so I'm not sure. I'm not certain. I hope it's a work because AJ's a talented wrestler, and we don't want anyone getting
Oh
hurt.
yeah.
Um, so that match was to give Carmelo number one contendership of the U.S. title if he won. I didn't hear that AJ would be number one contender if he'd win, but maybe that's
Yeah.
implied. Um, so as of today, Nick Aldis on social media announced that Mello versus Knight will be happening on SmackDown tomorrow for the title. I'm pretty excited for that. I think it'll be a very good match. I've been very impressed with Carmelo. I think he can work with people other than Andrade as much as
Oh yeah.
as much as Andrade and him are peanut butter and jelly right now. I think Mello
Yeah.
will be able
Yeah.
to work with Knight. I think it'll be a good match. Um, so that's coming up tomorrow. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that. That was just kind of my own little spiel.
No, I
Um,
I'm just excited to see him. Like you just said, I was going to make a joke about Andrade being his only component, his forever opponent. Um, but no, it's going to be great. LA Knight needs legit competition. So I was I was happy. I was happy that AJ was back. Let's hope it is a work and he isn't out again. Because he's sorely needed, especially when they go to 3 hours. Is that still an accurate
I've
report that they're going to 3 hours?
I've heard it's still like technically unconfirmed, even though I thought I heard it was confirmed. So I don't know,
Okay.
but I've been
Yeah, we'll
rolling
see.
with yeah, I've been rolling with it's going to be 3 hours. Um,
Okay.
let's see here. Oh, and the other thing from SmackDown I wanted to bring up was they had a triple threat ladder match for the tag team titles, and it was fun. It was it was a good TV match. Like they've been doing
Yeah.
that lately. Like the SmackDown before the pay per view, they get some really cool match that was like, oh, this maybe could have been on the pay per view or whatever. We talked about that a little bit with Gunther and Jay's matches not being on the pay per view last
Yeah.
week. Um, just one thing to note from that ladder match, I joked with Joel earlier that Tama Tonga can eat a shield bomb better than Randy Orton, better than Cody Rhodes, better than Roman Reigns, better than Paul Heyman. The guy came up and still like was fighting after that. Like it was a few minutes, but it wasn't.
He'll switch.
It wasn't like, oh, Orton, you're out for 6 months. Like it was, he was back up in the same, segment. So that
It was
was,
impressive.
yeah, that guy can take a bump apparently. Uh, and then as far as that goes, that's all I really had to say about last week's SmackDown. Looking forward to, like I said, the U.S. title match and what's to come of this Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes situation, and
Oh
Roman
yeah.
Reigns returning
Oh
to the
yeah.
show. Did you want to talk anything about Raw before we go?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of wrap up the show touching on the pace of Raw. I
Okay.
so we had different perspectives. We had two
Yes.
different, yeah, and that's fine. That's not okay. That's not all right.
Yeah. It's our last show.
I
It's over.
yeah, it's over. The chemistry's gone. No, the dialectic is good. So it was so fast in the beginning. It was just a promo, a match, a betrayal. And then you have that technical hiccup with the commentary team. I don't know if you caught that, but that like really slowed them down in
Yeah.
the breakneck pace of the intro for the night. But the whole night was stacked. You had title matches, uh, and I've told you before that I think them going to Netflix will signal a faster pace, a more aggressive attitude. So what we saw last Monday Night Raw pretty much summarizes that speed, which I was trying to suggest. You weren't a fan.
No, I thought it was a little too like shifting that way. Like it just didn't feel smooth to me. Like you were saying, there was promo, then promo, then promo, then match, then all this stuff is happening. Um, like I didn't mind it at first, but then when you like break down the Jey Uso match, you got like maybe a minute for it, and then it goes to picture in picture for the commercials, right?
Yeah.
And let's say a commercial break average is 3-4 minutes, something like that. Um, so they get back from commercial to end the match. There was maybe 3 minutes after the commercial. There's match. So in my eyes, that's a 4 minute Jimmy Uso match for a title. That's not. I don't like that. Like I get that it was on in picture, but if you're not watching live, you're not watching picture in picture. And if you're watching live, you're up and getting a drink, or you're not just sitting there watching the small box. So the fact that they don't like effectively 4 minute title match for probably the biggest babyface on Raw right now, like I didn't
Oh,
like that. That was his first defense. Um, and then yeah, I don't know. Just it felt like a lot of commercials. Like I don't know if you felt that way, but to
Yeah.
me it seemed like more than like a SmackDown, and I don't know why. And I don't know if that was just the whole overall pace of it made it feel that way, or if there really was more commercials. I'd have to see if somebody took the time to break that down. Um, but that's just how I felt. I thought it was too like this happened, this happened, this happened, and then like you said, there was the technical breakdown, and it just didn't give enough light to Jey Uso, and it gave. I think they gave a little too much light to this random 5v5 women's match towards the end.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Team heel versus team babyface. There's no like reason why they like each other other than one leans left, one leans right. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
um,
You had him in the right corners too for the cameras. But so it sounded like for you, you just thought it was jarring.
it's jarring. It just didn't have a good flow. I think next week it'll be a little better. It'll be comparable to like Joe Tessitore just did his first Raw, and then a few weeks later, like, oh, okay, it's starting to feel a little
Yeah.
better. Like I think that's
Set
how
in.
this is gonna go
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
But yeah, as far as like part of the thing too is like there's conversations online over like people being upset that it moved to 2 hours because oh well there's not going to be these American Alpha segments or
Mm.
American Made rather, or just like some of these things that are going to like fall off a little bit because there just isn't the time for it, and then they come out with this show that is just jarring. We'll just call it jarring, and it just it fuels
I
these
thought it was
people,
stupendous.
that were like, Raw needs to be 3 hours. Here's why. Look at how this one went. Like
Mm.
I just don't like that either. I feel like if you're trying to sell like 2 hours is a really good idea, that you do everything you can to make it go really well. And I don't think they did, but I'm probably in the minority.
No, I think you have points. Would it help you if you knew going into Netflix the commercials would be limited or non-existent?
Yeah, I mean, it would help know that for then, but I guess I still need to see like how Raw is next week. Like if it still seems like it's a bunch of commercials, or if that's like if I'm just misreading it.
Yeah, why is it that Tony Khan can go commercial free for the first hour, but WWE?
They do it very sparingly. Like I think they did it once this year, but I can't remember why. But yeah, at AEW, they're just like, hey, we're gonna not have any commercials, and we're gonna put MJF and Will Ospreay out there for an entire hour,
Yeah.
and they did it.
No, it's going to be one match.
But yeah. So,
You're
anyways,
gonna love it.
just to put a bow on that, yeah, I think it'll get better. But
Okay.
if see anything else from Raw, I don't think we got to cover too much of Raw. We're already over an hour.
If we're going to SmackDown in December, you and I really want to bring a sign that says Vince is innocent. Will security take it? Will they put that on television? Okay.
I don't think they'll take it. I don't know if they'll put it on television either, though. Like they might try to avoid you. Well, we're not gonna. We'll be
Yeah.
kind of where there's cameras, I guess, but not exactly.
No, we didn't go all out.
Yeah.
But we have a group of 4 people though.
Yeah, and one of them is her first time going, so that'll be really fun.
Yeah, that will be. Yeah, that'll be exciting. That'll be fun to report back
Yeah,
here after going and even before going. But
definitely.
yeah.
Maybe we get Carmelo versus Andrade part 12 by
Yeah,
then.
part 12. Yeah. Oh my God. The title will be on the line. Maybe every week they'll just change the U.S. title back and forth.
Yeah,
And LA Knight will be injured. I don't
get
know.
like 20 title reigns in a matter of 6 months.
They should do speed matches too. That actually, John, that should be the only speed match from now on. Andrade versus Hayes.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. and then by the end of the year, you can make a compilation that amounts to one match.
And yeah, it would 5 minutes at a time, or what is it, 3 minutes?
I think it's 3. I haven't watched one personally, but I
I
think
haven't
it's
either.
3.
I just saw that Candice LeRae
Shame.
Candice LeRae won the women's one. They just invented.
Oh.
So
Oh.
good for her. Um, Sheamus and Pete Dunne had a fun match.
Oh yeah, the Donnybrook.
Sammy and Gunther. Gunther won. I don't think that's
Predictable, but good.
yeah. I kind of liked how they did it. Just like
Yeah.
they had Sammy get a couple of haluvas in, and then Gunther on the third one, he's like, "Nah, dude," and just like lariats the shit out of him. Ends up putting him in the headlock or the sleeper hold rather, and yeah, ends up just making him pass out, and ref has called the match. So that was something. That's about all I got.
Yeah, I love it when Gunther gets fed up and just goes straight to the sleeper. You know, Mark Calloway recently, he has high praise, The Undertaker. He has high praise for Gunther's work. And it's just so great. I love
Yeah,
having this guy that other legends go, I can't wait to tune in. You know the business is booming when popular culture and retired wrestlers are commenting on the matches.
for sure. And someone was gonna say that too. I can't remember. I won't harp on it. Okay.
Sounds good?
Yeah. All right. Well, that was our second episode here. We'll be back the weekend, or sorry, the Thursday before Crown Jewel. So I'm not sure on the date on that right now, but keep your eyes out. We might throw up some small bits of content in between, some little nuggets, some little
Yeah.
treasure trail crumbs, whatever.
Yeah. That's right. You'll throw up some content. I'll throw up some gang signs.
There we go.
Maybe I shouldn't do that on air.
Maybe not. I
But
don't
no,
think anyone's
all I
saw.
got to say.
I can put an overlay
Okay,
over
good.
it.
Perfect. But yeah, you know, my parting words of wisdom for tonight's episode is yeet.